It's Monday, June 26th. This is a wrap-up of the regular council meeting and the work session for the city of Grand Rapids. We had Brad Peterson in at the work session this afternoon talking a little bit about Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and the legislative session that just was completed. On the positive side for the city of Grand Rapids, even though it was not the $45.6 million that we were hoping in outstate Minnesota on LGA increases, it was $15 million that was increased on LGA, and that is permanent increase. So bottom line financially for the city of Grand Rapids for year 2017, 18 is going to be about $95,000 increase in LGA. For the city of Grand Rapids in 19, it's about $97,000 increase in LGA for the city of Grand Rapids. The other thing that he talked about was some transportation. We were not successful in getting some additional funding in for cities over 10,000. We will continue to work on that through the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, and we will push for that, certainly from a city standpoint, to the extent we can to increase that funding on the transportation side. On the bonding side, we were successful. We got money in the bonding bill for the PED Bridge, and we talked about that, the Children's Museum, and some other funding in. So from that standpoint, on the bonding side, we are certainly pleased and thankful to the state legislature for including Grand Rapids on the bonding requests. And we will be working, as you'll hear through our council meeting, notes as we update the regular meeting. We're looking at resubmitting a bonding request in 2018 for a collaborative project at the IRA Civic Center. So we also had Megan Christensen in from Visit Grand Rapids, talk a little bit about the impacts that tourism has on Itasca County and the city of Grand Rapids. So it was quite extensive, and it is quite an impact. So when we look at the lodging tax and what that lodging tax goes to support and the work that Megan does over there at Visit Grand Rapids, we're very pleased with the work that's being done over there promoting Grand Rapids regionally, across the state and outside of the state of Minnesota to bring tourists and tourism into the Grand Rapids area. It's about $7-8 million specifically on the city of Grand Rapids, but it's a $70-some million impact on Itasca County, what tourism has, and it's significant the number of people that it employs and stuff as a result of that. Then also at the work session that moved over to the consent agenda for the council was line 3 from Enbridge. As you know, they are putting in a new oil line, or they're requesting to put in a new oil line, and that line over by Cass Lake would go south towards Aiken, then across, and it would come back up through Cromwell. So the existing current line 3 would be decommissioned, and they have proposed abandoning it in place. And because of the protection to our wellheads and our groundwater and surface water coming into our wells, the city of Grand Rapids and Council Member Conley brought it up that we should be concerned, and we are concerned that there could be some seepage and stuff as a result of that lines being abandoned in place, and we are requesting that they consider and look at least through the wellhead protection area and across the northern part of the city of Grand Rapids, that they take that line completely out of service, that they remove it and not just abandon that in place. So with that, we were hopefully good to go. At the start of the council meeting this afternoon, we had the privilege of promoting an officer. Kevin Ott was moved to the sergeant's position, so we're very happy for Kevin. His hard work and diligence with the police department in the city of Grand Rapids has afforded him now to move to the position of sergeant. And then Officer Jeff Rorick is a new officer, so Jeff was sworn in as our newest police officer in the city of Grand Rapids. It was quite nice to see family and friends here with a lot of kids. I thought for a second we were in a daycare, but it was just family and friends that were here to celebrate with those two officers, their promotions and the hire coming on board with the city of Grand Rapids. So we wish them both well, and thank them for their continued work and the service that they're going to provide Grand Rapids going out into the future. The council meeting tonight was highlighted by a lot of consent agenda items that I want to touch briefly on. First one was a grant submittal for master planning at the IRA Civic Center. I talked to you earlier about one of the things that we were looking at doing on bonding. We were successful this year in bonding, but we are looking at working with some different entities in promoting and developing child care and some of the needed infrastructure improvements that to address, I think it's almost 600 young people that need those type of services. So we are looking at a bond request in the 2018 bonding. So we submitted planning to come up with that figure. We signed an agreement to extend security services with Grand Itasca. We authorized the Public Works Department to purchase a Snow Blast M8500 HD snow blower from Titan Machinery. We adopted a resolution approving the plans and specifications and advertised for some street lighting. So if you're going out of Grand Rapids towards Coleraine and you go from 10th or at the stoplight on 8th and you continue out towards the old Rainbow and Coleraine and the college, on the north side of 169 we are going to be upgrading some street lighting through that part of Grand Rapids. So some of the businesses out there have had some concerns in the past that it was dark on that side of the street. So this project will take care of that. Moving on, we also applied for a grant with IRRB for $167,500 to develop a airport utilities extension project. Hopefully that will be successful. On the Civic Center, we are proposing that we use Danberg, Scott, Grazina, and Wagner for that master planning that I talked about earlier. We had a public hearing this evening, and it was to vacate a portion of 7th Street East right away in Block 1, Grand Rapids 3rd Division. That went through successfully. Then under community development, Rob Matei was in, and he talked about a resolution approving Minnesota Investment Fund and an application to the Economic Development Authority. What's happening here is ASV under Terex is split, and ASV is its own company now in Terex. So ASV is in Grand Rapids and they build machines here, and they had a parts distribution center in the south, and they were looking at if they could get some remodeling money and support. They were looking at moving their parts distribution center to Grand Rapids. They needed about 50,000 square feet of space that was found. There's the ability now through these grant applications with IRRB and MIF and GRETA on Grand Rapids to provide the funds there that they are, if successful, going to move their parts distribution center to Grand Rapids. It's going to increase, I think, anywhere from 10 to 17, 18 positions. It gives us a ability to further develop the economic base of employment in Grand Rapids. As I said at the meeting, anytime we can move away from timber and taconite into tourism and other businesses, those are good. Not that we want to not focus on timber and taconite. We do. When that opportunities come up, we will be supportive of ventures that would increase our ability to have jobs in those areas. But this is giving Grand Rapids, once again, another opportunity to have a diversified workload base in the city of Grand Rapids. We waived the requirements of assessments for the time of sales on lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, Block 2 of Lakewood Heights Edition, through the approval of an estoppel certificate, so that if those lots are sold, they will not have to pay the assessments at that point in time. Then under engineering, Matt Wegworth come in, he talked about a master partnership contract between the city of Grand Rapids and the state of Minnesota, so that was approved. There's a lot of language there, but basically it stays the same. It just goes through the details of the costs and who covers what and who supports who at different times. Then we approved a quote with Bargain Incorporated for seal coating from 7th Street. So if you go from the Horn Bridge on 7th Avenue all the way up to 17th Street, that street will, it's a clear this time instead of a dark seal coating. We're looking at putting that on. It's about a $53,000 contract with Bargain to put that on. It's white and it's clear, and it's hopefully will protect that road in its life cycle so that we can get a few more years of life out of the street before you have to go in and do a mill and overlay. We considered a photocopier lease for 60 months through IT. And then we purchased a drinking fountain at City Hall. And here's an interesting one. Remember back a few council meetings, we had picked up where we felt that there was a portion of the residents of Grand Rapids under the annexation plan that were being double taxed on recreational opportunities. Pat Geyer and some other staff people were in and talked to us about what we had done as a council and the impact that it was going to have on the Joint Recreation Board over at Coleraine. And we felt that because of that action and because of their explanation how that works, and that they would have to still then charge those folks just a different way, that the action that we took was probably necessary to revisit. And we did that this evening. We revisited it, and actually we voted no on what we had voted yes on the last time, which is now puts us back in so that we are a part of still of the Greenway Joint Recreation Board. So I know it's a long drawn out kind of a process, but bottom line is it remedies an action that we took as a council and got it back to where it should be so that they can continue to get the funding they need through those residents who are in the Greenway Joint Rec taxing district, and the funding that they'll be paying is going into that board. So with that, we will get together on July 11th. Hope everyone has an opportunity and that we get some nice weather. I would encourage everyone to have a safe and productive 4th of July coming up, and we will talk to you on the 11th, and take care. Get out and enjoy the nice weather when we do get nice weather.